What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 145, and it's going to be a big one this week. We have an awful lot to talk about for obvious reasons. The big news, of course, is everything going on with Xbox and Bethesda, so we're going to cover every detail of that, from the exclusivity to Game Pass to engine tech to IPs, everything going on with it. So we'll dive deep on that here shortly. We also got some news on Halo Infinite, some new details. We've got a cool-looking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game we need to talk about, and hopefully an update finally on Dying Light 2, as well as all the things we've been playing. So, going to be a fun one. Thanks for tuning in. Let me, of course, first shout out to my partner in crime over here, Scrum the Monkey, this week, which is apparently your Sea of Thieves pet. Is he well-behaved? Is he cool?
He just sits there, man. And like if you look at him from like the backside, sometimes it looks like he's, playing with the scrum. But, for the most part, he just kind of sits there. I can pick him up and put him in other places, but he does his job. He's a monkey. I mean, as long as he doesn't throw shit at me, I don't ask much. I'm a very simple man. So he doesn't do that. We're good.
Sea of Thieves is still rocking, man. 3-year anniversary, actually.
Yeah, man. That's awesome.
Which is crazy to think about. It's hard to believe that game's been out for 3 years. But anyway, cool, man. So joining us back again is Mr. Nicholas Downie from the gaming perspective, also a contributor over at Windows Central / Android Central. How are you doing, man? It's been a while since we chatted.
Yeah, it's been a while. Glad to be here. Glad that I can torture Dan for another day. So it'll be a good day.
That's always a good day, right?
Always a good day.
Absolutely.
And I didn't say it officially, so we'll say it on the show. But congratulations on the job, man, and the getting the right over there. I know that's been a passion of yours for a while, so it's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild that I'm now being paid money to write about Bethesda, so that's exciting.
That's awesome.
And just so we're clear at the start, you're not getting any money for talking about Bethesda today. So.
No.
We're essentially a non-profit over here at Season Gaming. All right, and joining us for the first time, which I'm happy to say, is one of our friends of the show, a big supporter. You know him in the community, of course. I know our community knows him. Mr. The Darge Knight himself, coming to us from across the pond. What's happening, brother?
Oh, thanks for having me on, Ains. It's one of the shows I've been watching for a long time now, so I'm happy to be on here. Not a lot happening though, mate. I'm got nothing for you there on that front, but just gone back to work over the last few weeks. I ain't had a lot of time to do a great deal of gaming, but I'm good. I'm happy. There's some good topics to talk about, so yeah, let's get stuck in.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's an interesting time, I think, outside of everything we talk about here in the gaming community, right? A lot of people heading back to work, things changing based on the pandemic and everything going on. So it's been a weird time, I think, for a lot of people. But anyway, let's talk about some more exciting things here on the gaming community. So before we do that, though, welcome back, Nick. Darge, man. Anytime we have a first-time guest, we've got to talk about your kind of gaming history and your loves. We've already heard that Halo is your favorite franchise, so that's good. We're off to a good start there. But seriously, give us a quick backdrop on what got you into gaming as a kid, or if it's more recently, and how you kind of got to this point.
Yeah, I've as a kid, I come from like a working class background, like single parent and all that stuff. So it's like you kind of got what you could get. So like the first system was a Master System. And then it went on from there to the Mega Drive, PlayStation 1, stuff like that. So I've always sort of had the consoles. But yeah, games like tastes and stuff, I'd say like Resident Evil on the original PlayStation, the Wind Walker Zelda game on GameCube. I enjoyed that a lot. Really, like from the 360, I was still like super casual, but like from the 360, I sort of played more sort of story games, did like the BioShock, Dead Space, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm quite casual. I was like mainly a Call of Duty, FIFA football player for the longest time. That was kind of all I ever wanted to do online. But yeah, like since talking to like Dealer, Colt Eastwood and Rand and all those guys, they kind of give me shit. And he ended up playing like Batman, the Arkham trilogy, stuff like that. Yeah, I've missed out on a lot. So like some of these remakes, like Mass Effect or like remasters rather, gives me a chance to kind of go back to them, you know?
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. And there's nothing wrong with Call of Duty and FIFA, man. They kind of drive the gaming industry as it is. So
Yeah, definitely.
Gaz in here already getting rowdy. I see you, Gaz. Hey, SG crew, good to see the Box Eater Darge on the show. Gaz, calm down, man. Calm down. It's too early. Too early for that.
Man, where are we in? We're
Gaz,
only like
appreciate the super chat, man. Thanks for
like
stopping
5
by.
minutes in.
I know we're 5 minutes in.
This is
Come on,
gonna be
Gaz.
awesome.
Give it. Let us warm up at least.
No, this is good. This is how you wake my ass up. Just get in there with all this stuff. Man, we got rum, we got box eating. You know, we bring you everything, really.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's why you're here.
No doubt. Darge, all right, give it to me, man. Hey, I see the mini Darge over there.
Yeah, that's like, this is like the phone in my side. She, like I say, things have been wild over here for a while. So I've just recently gone back to work. Haven't been able to spend as much time with my kids. So this opportunity, like basically, she came round tonight, and then I said, I've got this thing to do. Just let me do it. And she was like, yeah, and we're 5 minutes in, and she's already in here. So yeah, you probably see a bit of her.
No worries at all, man. Completely get it. So what's your if you had to pick favorite franchise / game / platform, kind of what's your favorites all time in the gaming space?
So favorite platform would be Xbox.
Okay.
Definitely. I remember when I first got the Crystal Edition original, the offset analog sticks, stuff like that. Just really like the feel of it. So that would be platform throughout all the generations of Xbox. Games always sticks in my head is just the first BioShock game. As a story and the mechanics of it, you know, the shooting with the ability stuff and that. That game always really stands out. And like I say, the Arkham trilogy as well is, you know, the combat style, you know, all that sort of stuff. They're good games, but like, you know, Gaz knows, like, I haven't played a lot of games. I haven't played Halo, you know, stuff like that. So I'm still yet to experience those types of games. But yeah, those BioShock is always the go-to. Like, I really enjoyed that game.
You're speaking to Dan now, definitely. Well, actually, you're speaking to all of us. I think all of us here are diehard BioShock lovers. So
pretty much no Halo and BioShock.
No. You
and
notice
Xbox. Yeah.
You notice he hasn't played Halo, so it's to come. It's to come.
Well, maybe. You know, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. But no, BioShock 1 is legendary. I think one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. So that's cool, man. So great to have you on. We already said that. But let's get into it, man. Love to see everyone in the chat. Shout out to everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just getting ramped up here because we got a lot to talk about. Obviously the big topic is Xbox and Bethesda, right? So in fact, really, when you kind of look through the week, there wasn't even a ton of news or big topics outside of Xbox and Bethesda. They kind of stole the show for the whole week. So first, let's I kind of want to break this down into sections, guys, because there's, like I said, there's an awful lot to cover. So let's keep it one by one here in the sense of, let's just start with the easiest thing, which was the roundtable show they did on Thursday, was it? And you know, little type of different show, right? We're not talking about big news or reveals or trailers or anything, but it's more about getting the leadership of both those organizations together and just kind of having an open chat, sit down and chat about what's to come and, you know, what their feelings are, including Bethesda, of course, on being acquired by Xbox. So just wanted to hear your thoughts on what you thought about that. Do you guys like that kind of presentation? Do you enjoy it? Does it do anything for you, or could you not care less? Anyway, open to anyone. Nick, I'll start with you, man.
I don't know. I like it a lot because there's a lot of gaming history, so to speak, between Bethesda and Xbox. Like, it's always been like a pretty good open relationship. And there's something about Bethesda that I've always liked in the terms of their leadership. Their leadership is incredibly likable. Like, you start talking about, you know, Pete Hines, you know, Todd Howard. They're just really interesting personalities. Like, Todd Howard portrays himself in such a big way, but the guy's only like 5'3", I think. It's like,
and he's got a good sense of humor, and
like, it's it's always great when you see business types just relax and enjoy and talk about, enjoying the things they do. It gives it a lot less. This is just a corporate deal, because at the end of the day, it's a corporate deal, but there's humans behind that corporate deal.
Yeah.
And as we saw with the passing of Altman there a few weeks ago, the culture at Bethesda is incredible. And they've built something that a lot of people care about. And there's a lot of people that care a lot about what they do within that studio and that publisher as a whole. So it's really exciting in the future to see Xbox's new culture that's been brought by Phil Spencer and company merge with the already pre-existing Bethesda culture. It's just a really exciting time, honestly.
Completely agree. And it was kind of sad to see Altman, because Altman, I mean, when you really think about it, what he did and what he built changed the industry. So, and he seemed to be a very kind of likable, passionate person, which we always talk about in this big industry that's growing exponentially year over year. As there's so many billions and hundreds of billions of dollars out there, you're going to get more and more corporate presence, right? And with that corporate presence, people what's the guy at EA? The new CEO, the young guy at EA. I can't remember.
Andrew
Wilson. Andrew Wilson. Yeah, but he'll talk on a stage, and I'm like, this guy is a suit through and through. Like, you're doing nothing for me right now. Whereas someone, like you said, like a Pete Hines or Todd Howard can speak, and I'm engaged. I feel like even Phil Spencer to agree. I think that's one thing I like about Phil Spencer is, yes, he runs a huge organization. He has a ton of responsibility, and he's very much a businessman at heart. He knows what he's doing for the business, but he's also a gamer, and you can tell he actually plays games and enjoys games and has been around games. And, there's a very big difference in those two things, in my opinion. Darge, what do you think, man? Did you enjoy this? Is this kind of thing you watch and get into, or not really?
No, I think it's good to do it, and send the video out so everyone kind of knows how happy everyone is with the deal. But I think what the bigger thing was for Microsoft is the whole up in the air thing with Bethesda, and kind of the exclusive thing and everything else. I feel like they're shaping the industry, with the way it's going, with Game Pass being their baby now. So I feel like they've called this together. They've got one of the biggest publishers they've purchased. And I feel like that they've done this presentation. Obviously, it was a very small thing with Phil addressing the exclusivity thing.
Yeah.
But they've done that as if it's more like a big pro for Game Pass. It's like, we've bought these. We're going to make these games better. They're going to be through our service. It just sends the message,
Yeah.
And also it's all that gatekeeping stuff, if they'd have just put a blog post out and just gone, yeah, they're exclusive from now on. Whereas they've addressed it in a way where it's not the end of the world. You can just use Game Pass however you want to use it, whether it's through a browser later down the line or a phone, and you still get access to those games. So yeah, for me personally, it was all right watching it, but I didn't have a problem with it. No.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and we're going to touch a lot on exclusivity and Game Pass. I mean, Game Pass is if you weren't already aware that Game Pass is the future for Xbox, you should be by now. And if you're not by now, then you're probably a lost cause in understanding what's going on. I was going to shoot this over to Scrum the Monkey, but Dan, you good?
I'm here. I swear to fucking Christ, you can't get one goddamn fucking 1 minute. Just stop. You know what I'm doing. I don't need to talk to you. We've talked all week. I don't need to talk to you for the fucking 2 hours I get to come on and talk about games. All right. Anyway, yeah. What are we talking about?
Calm it down. Bring it back in.
I'm good. I'm good. We're gonna have some words later. Is what's gonna happen. Anyway.
By the way, before you go up, Dan, I don't know if you saw Sicario's giving you crap in the chat here, Darge. I don't know if you want to respond to this.
He's a sort of friend of mine. He's leaning more the other way at the minute, but he likes to flirt with me. I like it, as long as I can please people one way or the other,
That's it, man. That's it. You got his attention, right?
Yeah, defo.
Dan, go ahead, man. Did you watch the roundtable? What do you think of it?
Yeah, I watched some of it. It was just kind of one of those things where it's just like, yeah, okay. I mean, we all kind of knew what the news was, you know. It wasn't like a huge reveal by any means, at least to me, as far as what it was supposed to be about generally. It's like, hey, we acquired Bethesda. We knew we were kind of doing that back in September, whenever the hell it was. Right. So it was one of those things I was just like, okay, cool. You know, just give us some solid, concrete answers. I kind of like that format. It's just very casual. It's very relaxed, sit down, you know. So as far as that goes, I think it was fine. You know, it was kind of nice, you know, kind of jumping all over to different studios and, you know, having them in there, and it was all right. I mean,
yeah, I know that you know, we talk about all this stuff all the time. I know you prefer like just show me the game, show me the video, show me the gameplay.
Right? Yeah, I'm all about give me what I want, you know, now instead of talking about it.
All right. By the way, what's going on, Z Black, Darren, Walt, Mo, everyone in the house? Love to see you guys. Thanks for coming out. We're gonna see you get slapped like Fork here shortly.
No. You know what would be cool though? Like if we somehow got it to where like you could reach out and like I was on the correct side where you can like, you know, a hand would like just come in from out of nowhere. No, she's gone. You know, but I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
All right.
Like literally 2 hours a week. That's all I ask. Leave me alone.
So let's talk about Phil's answer then. I know that's a big topic. And it's been a topic all across, and it's kind of weird, right? Because at some point you get tired of talking about it and hearing about it, but you can't not address it either. So the big question was always exclusivity and what that looks like, what the plans are for the Bethesda IPs and everything else. And I know, Dan, we've talked about this at length prior. We've given a lot of comments on it. And the the quote that people call me out on is that I said, you know, a lot of people were saying that Xbox didn't spend $7.5 billion to put games on PlayStation. And I said, it's kind of a stupid statement. Really, they didn't spend $7.5 billion to lose money. And so what we knew and what we've talked about previously was that Game Pass is the future of Xbox. It's been apparent for a long time now. And I think what this statement does of Phil coming out and saying, look, which was I don't know if you guys felt the same way about it when he said it. It was a very Phil statement. It was very calculated and precise about it. He had obviously thought about the words he was going to use there, because what he essentially did simultaneously is by saying that, you know, there's contractual agreements. Obviously, there's games that exist now as a service, ESO, those types of things. But future Bethesda titles will, you know, play best on Xbox, and they're going to be in a spot where Game Pass exists. And that's essentially a way to satisfy your hardcore Xbox fan base, right? Because what they're hearing is they're exclusive. And at the same time, he's leaving that door open as the growth occurs and Game Pass expands globally. He's leaving that door open to say, it's not that you might not ever play these games on a Switch or a Nintendo platform or a PlayStation platform or a Sony TV or whatever it may be. It's that if you want to, you're going to be signing up for Game Pass wherever that entry point is. And I thought it was a great answer, but it's definitely calculated. And so that's what I thought on it. And it's clear. Like I said, I've said it multiple times. It's clear Game Pass is it. So. Nick, thoughts on this, man? I'm sure, like we joke, Nick, this is Nick's third show in 4 days? Yeah. So I'm sure there's been a lot of Bethesda talk for you already, and I'm sure you've touched on this, but give your thoughts to our audience, brother.
Well, so the thing that I really enjoyed out of this, because I was always on, this is going to be Xbox Game Pass ecosystem exclusive. Yeah. That's the way Bethesda's going to go, and that's just the way it is. And the biggest criticism people always had was, well, 50% of all of Bethesda's sales up to this point have been on PlayStation. So why would they just stop getting 50% of that money? Well, the answer is Xbox Game Pass engagement's insane. Developers put Game Pass on there. Like, developers want their games on Game Pass. We interviewed a indie developer on our show on Tuesday, and he simply stated that it is the dream to get on Xbox Game Pass because your game gets so much more exposure, does so much better, and more people are playing it. And you can even see that now. You're seeing people with, I'm going to use Prey as an example because that is a game
yes.
up finally. But everyone's jumping on board of the train. They're like, this game's amazing.
I know. Where were you 3 years ago, you asshole?
Dude, the game is so fucking good. It just drives me crazy.
But here's the thing with this, though, and this is the beauty of it, because we have a lot of gatekeeping in terms of, well, where were you? We make jokes about it. Where were you 3 years ago when this game was great, right?
Yes.
But the thing is like, I'm one of these people. I don't care if I played a game in 2002 and you played in 2020. If we can sit down and have the conversation about how great that game is later, then that's a win to me. And I think that's the biggest thing with this Bethesda acquisition that people are missing, is not only are these games, exclusivity doesn't really matter. I've got my PS5 next to my Xbox Series X. They don't fight usually until they get a little drunk on Saturday nights. Then they get a little fisticuffs. But the overall thing is like, all these games we're going to see more of. There's a lot more risks that these studios can take. I will take, for example, if you're one of these people that's on PlayStation only and that's your thing, I respect that. But if you sit there and if you love these games, you will go out and spend $300 on an Xbox Series S and play those games. Because at the end of the day, if you love these games, you'll play them wherever they are. Great games are regardless of the platform they're on. I've been buying PlayStations for the games they've had for eons, and I've bought Xboxes for the same reason. Nothing has changed, essentially. It's the same thing as if you're a Final Fantasy fan. You're probably not buying an Xbox first because, you're a second-place citizen to Square Enix. And that's just the way it is. And that's just, people have to get over that hump. Like, the reality of that Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 not being on your PlayStation, that could be a reality. But it's not like the Xbox ecosystem isn't easy to get into.
Correct.
That's kind of the great thing. It's like Phil says, it's better when we all play together. That doesn't mean he's going to support his competition. It means that the Xbox ecosystem is more accessible to whatever you want it to be, whether it be through your mobile device, your PC, or your Xbox. That's the brilliance of their approach. They don't care where you play as long as you're playing in their ecosystem. And I think that's the main thing people are missing is like Xbox would absolutely put Bethesda games on PlayStation if Xbox Game Pass is on PlayStation.
Correct.
And that's the power move because Phil's going, if you've got Xbox Game Pass, you don't have anything to worry about.
Yep.
So it puts PlayStation and Nintendo in this situation of, do we allow it on our platform, et cetera, et cetera. Will it happen? Probably not for years, if ever.
Yeah.
But I will say endlessly, if they ever got Xbox Game Pass and xCloud onto Switch, woo!
Yep.
That's a dream. Yep. But yeah, all in all, it's exactly what needed to happen. And people just need to be excited about the games and stop hand-wringing over, oh no, Microsoft's buying up the whole industry. It's a monopoly. Oh no.
The people yelling monopoly have no concept of this industry.
I can't stand, especially there's some people within the industry itself. I won't name names, of course, but there's people that will champion Tencent buying and investing in every studio in North America and Europe. But the moment Microsoft buys Bethesda, they're like, oh no, we're getting close to a monopoly. Stop the hand wringing. It's annoying. Yeah.
Nick, you crushed it. Honestly, everything you just said is right on point. It's exactly that, as we keep saying it. And to your point about engagement, I'll start there because that's where you started mentioning it. And Todd Howard even said that in the roundtable, right? He said just imagining that these games, like a game like Fallout 4 that's been out for years now, is suddenly going to see an influx of millions of new players is just incredibly exciting for developers, right? And I can only imagine, some of the developers at Arcane have to be paying attention to all the attention that Prey's getting now. And it's probably just got to make them feel great. You know what I mean? Because they pour their hearts into that game. It's a tremendous game, and now they get to see all these new people loving it, which is fantastic. What was I going to say? Your points on our Game Pass are exactly right. And the question, I think, the counter that people I've seen anyway to that about Game Pass kind of being that entry point, and to your exactly right saying it's accessible, is the point I keep making about this whole thing is that this is only the beginning. We haven't seen the true fruits of Game Pass yet. As much as we all love it already, it's nowhere near what its final form, right? It's still growing, and Xbox is positioning Game Pass eventually. And I know we talked about this last week too, Dan, about it being indispensable. It's going to come a point where if you're a big time gamer, there are going to be so many big IPs and so many big games on Game Pass that it's going to be hard to ignore. And Xbox is going to be fine wherever you want to play those games, as long as you're entering the Game Pass door, which is exactly the point you just made.
Yep. Wait till Outriders hits Game Pass day one. People are going to lose their mind.
We were going to touch on that. Let me get these super chats real quick, Darge. Z Black, good to see you, man. Time for Dan to come to Canada. Dan?
I mean, I think Bill Burr said it best. I mean, people think that there's some kind of imaginary line, right? Where like you go up to Canada, everybody's drinking syrup and riding around on mooses and shit. It's not. I mean, it's basically America, right? So I mean, it's just higher.
Whoa, Nick, you just made Nick back up out of his chair.
There's nothing. I mean, you still got a bunch of people up there that, you know, I think he said, you know, there's still a bunch of white people that are up there and they're, you know, just as racist as the people down south. It's nothing. I mean, I love Canada. Don't get me wrong, you know, because I love maple syrup and mooses, and also Nicholas because he's from there. But you know, it's. I'm never going to Canada to live there. I would, you know. I'm in Kansas, so I'm basically like in a less frozen Canada. You know, that's basically what we are. There ain't much here, dude. You know, that's what I'm saying. Hey, I mean,
yeah, I know you're.
You know what I mean.
I'm not debating with you on it. Graham, thanks, man. Pray for life. Don't listen to Mr. Badbet. That's facts. Don't listen to Mr. Badbet. He don't know what he's talking about. Thank you as always, Graham. Good to see everyone. Chat Bomber in the house as well. We needed to have him too to get the legendary beard on here with Nick. Outriders, the Game Pass one can hope better than Anthem. Okay, calm down. Okay, right. Outriders, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if it's free, maybe.
If it's free, we'll see. We'll see. But thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Right.
All right, Darge, man. Everything we just touched on, right? So the play being Game Pass, the whole exclusive future titles to Game Pass as a service, wherever that resides. Your thoughts there, comments, whatever you want to add.
Because they've completely changed it, so to speak. Because obviously exclusives before were console, like hardware exclusives, like console. Yep. You had to go and do like £300-400 to get in those exclusives, you know.
Yep.
Whereas with this Game Pass angle now, you know, by the time Microsoft roll all this out, whether it's through browser, like I say, mobile phone, console, PC, you know, cloud, all this different stuff, even though they're exclusive, they could cost you like I don't know what the price difference is over there, but like £10 a month to access those exclusives. Admittedly, you're streaming them unless you're doing it through PC or console. But they've changed it now. So theoretically, even though Bethesda games are exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem now, it doesn't mean that they've gatekept them away for hardware sales or stuff like that. And I feel like that's the way they're shaping, like the way it's going to go. Like there's a reason that Sony signed the deal with Microsoft to get into the Azure network, because they knew it was tried and tested, and that's where it's going. There's a whole reason Google have sort of backed down a little bit, because Microsoft have made a statement on what it's going to cost to get involved. If you're going to want to get involved, and Google have a long history of talking, and then when it comes down to it, they sort of go, "Nah, it's not for us." It's a big bill. Don't get me wrong. Like Bethesda is like high up, you know, in the publishing space. But yeah, like content is always going to be king, and even when these services start going proper everywhere, exclusives are going to matter, you know. So yeah, Microsoft are obviously shaping the way it's gone or is going. So they've decided to get one of the big ones first. And obviously, with regards to Xbox, obviously when Microsoft are backing them up as well, they can do it. Like since this Bethesda, I mean, it's probably all wash anyway, but you're hearing, are they going to purchase EA? Are they going to purchase Ubisoft? Are they going to purchase, like, you know, these are huge publishers, you know, like, and developers, you know. So nothing's off the table. So Yeah, this is the start. It's a good start as well, because I think the acquisition in regards to the engines that they've got and everything else over there at Bethesda and the games that they make, I think they're a really good mix for Microsoft. So I'm interested, and like in that little roundtable thing, they was talking about how like Machine Games would help out Arcane, and they do all this stuff between them. Now with the Xbox studios like the Coalition, Playground, everyone else, they all sort of help each other. It'd be interesting to see what games come of it in 3-4 years time or whatever. So yeah, I Game Pass is setting the landscape of the way it's going to go. It's a case now. Sony have got to catch up. So
yeah. I think you nailed some good points there, and I think you're right about. I said to our SG chat yesterday, actually, that we're witnessing an industry shift before our eyes. Right there's these points in time throughout the gaming industry where things have shifted, and you can kind of point to those looking back. The NES obviously changed the industry. I think the PlayStation 2 changed the industry, and there's these points, and I think Game Pass is that at this point in time, it's shifting how we think about accessibility to games, which Nick touched on, and you as well, Darge, in the sense of it used to be you have to go buy the new console and now you're playing these exclusives. But like you both said, they're going to be exclusives, but it's to an entry point. It's an ecosystem. I'll probably drive Dan crazy because we've been using #ecosystem for like a year now talking about this, but it's true. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's engagement and ecosystem. So, very good points, Darge. Dan.
Yeah, so I mean, we've been talking about this since September. So, like any of the news, well, I mean, it didn't really surprise me because we said it several times. They're going to make the best decision for them, based on what's going to make them the most money. This is what they think is going to do it. Get them in the Game Pass, push the service. Great. I have no idea, but, Phil does, we always say yield to the people that, have been in this business, and I will, and up until this point, both of us have kind of said, this is pay attention to what was said, not what you think it means, it's just
listen to what is said, not what you want to hear.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like I said, I don't give a shit because I am in Game Pass for 18 years from here on out.
I think we're all in Game Pass almost permanently at this point.
Right. Yeah. We've got, I'm still in my dollar phase, until like, I think June 2022, we had like 3 years, whenever the hell they released it. So it doesn't none of this matters to me as much as, now I need to see the results of what this is going to do. I want to see, what these collaborations can bring about. I want to see, new games. I want to see, like the FPS boost, that we're going to be getting, that's going to be great.
Pumped about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pumped about one for sure, but I mean, and everything else. I mean, I'm to the point now where, and I've said this before, I worry about one consumer, me. That's it. Anything else, no offense, but you guys do your thing. I'm going to do mine. And as long as I'm getting these games, like for instance, we celebrate these 20 games coming to Game Pass, yesterday. Fantastic. I own all of them. Yeah. So this does zero for me whatsoever, but it also makes, it also adds value to the service, immediately for people that either, don't own those games or have never played them, or people that are coming into that ecosystem. Yeah. Fantastic for them, Yeah. But I mean, it's about right for me. So it's great, but now I want to see results. Yeah. I've been wanting to see results for like 4 years, but and I know they you can say whatever you want. Oh, it takes time. It takes time. You know what? I've seen what these studios could do. I mean, it's not like Microsoft just came into money yesterday. A lot of this stuff could have been done a long time ago, I think. But with that being said, give me some shit. Give it to me. You know what? That's all I want now.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Nick, you're getting picked on in the chat, brother, because I think you fell asleep.
He did. Nope, can't talk to him.
There. No, I am not.
Lady said send coffee. Hey,
it's my soothing voice.
This chat's out of control today, man.
That's because Gaz is in it.
I know Gaz is riling everyone up, which I appreciate, honestly. I appreciate it. Good to see some new faces in the chat as well. So thanks for coming by. So, yeah, you touched on it. So I'll tell you what, we're on Game Pass. Let's talk about it. So you guys think the tease from Game Pass is Outriders launch and date in Game Pass?
Unlikely, only because I haven't bought it yet. Had I purchased it, it would have 100%, and it been non-refundable, it would 100% be true. Actually,
they'll
I
announce
have no
it
idea.
the day before. All the pre-purchases are not.
Well, when you sent me that thing, I was like, man, last time they did this shit was Control, when he kind of let the Control was coming to Game Pass slip, and then
that was Phil's comment though.
That was Phil's comment, right?
Game Pass account,
right? So, so I'm wondering like, if it, because that always confused me when like it just didn't come after he said it. So I was like, man, I wonder if they're pissed because he kind of took down some of those, those order numbers or the amount of games that they actually paid for instead of getting it through the service. So you know what? That's fine. Just bring it to me. I'm definitely not pre-ordering it until I see some results. So we'll see what's happening.
What do you guys think? Nick, I know you brought it up a bit ago here.
Yeah, so there's one of two things this is. I've got two theories on this. Outriders is obviously the most obvious one because within that email tease, they basically took the store description
yes, they did.
from Outriders and put it in the email. So that's one thing. But if I want to put on my big brain hat for a minute, there's a game that's going to be coming to Xbox Game Pass when it launches, and that game's Stalker 2, which is going to be a big deal when that happens. It's not happening anytime soon, but there was the first game in that series, which also, features a beacon and anomalies and everything else. So there's part of me that's like, it's definitely like I'm 90% it's Outriders because it makes a lot of sense. That game is not statistically doing well. Pre-orders are low. Yeah, I've heard tons of information from people I've talked to that the game is just not doing the gangbusters they thought. People Can Fly is small, and I really think Outriders going on Game Pass is smart because I don't think Square Enix wants another Marvel's Avengers because that game is just a disaster. Yeah. And I think they want to, you need to have that player base there day one, and Game Pass gives you that player base.
Yep.
But there's also part of me that hopes that they just stealth launch a console port of Stalker on Xbox and just absolutely mind screw me. But they said new game, and Stalker is anything but new. So when Outriders drops on Game Pass, I'm going to have to hit up a couple of my friends that were like, well, I'll subscribe to Game Pass when they start getting AAA games day one. I'm pretty sure Outriders is a AAA game.
I'm pretty sure Dan has said those exact words. Although
I'll say it every single, like if I had not paid $1 for, it translates into more of that because you had, you transferred whatever it was. For me, like I said, I don't care about everybody else. Like I haven't gotten those, big games yet, just like that I've been wanting. It's just like, oh, first party, sign me up. Boom, 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 boom. Wait a minute. Where the fuck are the first party games? Sea of Thieves, one of them, ended up buying it later on down the road, but that's fine. And then Gears of War, which was a weird one because I bought the console, got the game with it. I'm wondering, like, are these games, because what they did with that one, we got the super deluxe ultimate edition, right? Yeah. I wonder if they're going to continue to do that.
I hope so.
Down the road. I hope so too.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
By the way, Kev, Kev, it's a Fallout hoodie, man. I know the colors are bright, but it's a Fallout hoodie. I figured I never wear it. I haven't worn it in, I don't know when the last time I wore it was, but I figured today was the day. We're going with it. And by the way, you certainly don't want to see me breakdance. That would be horrendous. Darge, Outriders, man. You try it? You interested? You see this Game Pass tease?
No, I haven't. I'm actually looking for it now, but I can't find it. But no, I haven't. I've seen them do them before, though, these tease things. Outriders. Asa from Game On Daily did a good tech analysis video of it, which I watched, and Yeah, it didn't grip me from what I see. I haven't played the demo of it, so it's not really on my radar. So if like what Nick's saying is right, and the pre-orders are down, and there was the opportunity to do that kind of deal, it kind of makes sense for everyone, because it seems, I mean, it's just me, you know, like I ain't everyone, but like it seems like a game to me that's more something that you'd be more inclined to get through a service like Game Pass than actually drop, especially after the Anthem thing. I come up for Anthem badly. I paid £60 for Anthem, played it for about 6 hours, and was like, what's happening? And I couldn't get rid of it. And I literally never booted it up again. Like,
man.
You know, like it's just like Jar Sicario recently. Those kind of live servicey games don't usually get me. And he was saying about the Division 2, and I was like, from what I'd heard, I was like, nah, it's not for me. Like, nah, it's crap, it's dead, it's blah blah blah. And he convinced me to play it. Well, he bought it for me, and with the Warlords DLC, and I got sucked in hard.
Yeah.
Like, and I actually really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the shooting in that game. Based that end game thing with those games is like, I went back to Destiny not too long ago, and for me personally, it's very repetitive, you know. But I know that that's like a hot topic, you know, like some people love it still, and it's each to their own. But Outriders, from me, my perspective, looking at it, I would be a lot more inclined to try that game through a service like Game Pass than actually shelling out £60 for it to be trash again.
So you're basically making Nick's point from an anecdotal perspective, right? Is I saw some notes, especially from people who know online about this as well, that pre-order numbers are far below what they were hoping for this game. So, I mean, depending on what obviously those types of deals run, monetary, you know, financially, I guess, between Xbox and the publisher and Square Enix, I guess we'll see. But that would be a big get, man. I think that would be a big win for the game and the community. So I hope so. All right, I figure we might as well touch on that while we're talking about Game Pass. But let's talk about some other things relating to Bethesda. And I know Nick touched on some of this, but I think what's really interesting about the Bethesda deal is the shared kind of tech that they're getting, and now you've got everything under Xbox and everything under Bethesda working together, and all the people behind that. So in particular, Phil actually called out Idtech Engine, which is obviously what runs Doom. I think the interesting thing about this engine, I was talking to Carl, who writes for Season Gaming and knows the details of the stuff a lot better than I do. But this has a Vulkan history here. It's not even really made to. It's very different from, say, like an Unreal or something that runs with DX12 and all that. So I think it's the concept here and what's possible now. If you think about the multitude of engine tech they have across these studios, the multitude of experts, obviously working on all these things, and now the IPs that you can kind of cross over between these two things. I was joking around the other day, obviously knowing that I'm a Halo guy, but joking around the other day, like, what happens if you actually took another part of the Halo lore, like a different Spartan set or a different character, and put that in the Idtech engine and made the game play like Doom, but from a Halo perspective, and you're a Spartan or something like that. And I think the possibilities here for crossovers and just expanding upon all of these IPs in unique ways is one of the most exciting things about the deal for me. I mean, the possibilities, I think, are even more exciting than just, getting Elder Scrolls in Game Pass. I mean, that's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but what could potentially come from this is much more exciting to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk a lot about it, right? We always talk about what's like the potential. Again, show me the money. That's basically what I say to this. I don't know a whole lot about the tech side, so
no. But I mean, forget that.
Like
right?
the Orion tool said. Like I read
what would
some
you
stuff
like
about
to
that.
see from a game perspective? Like if you think about all these characters, all these IPs, what's your dream kind of game that Bethesda and Xbox could make together?
Prey 2. I mean, literally, that's
Fallout New Vegas too.
Something like that. Like I'm not, give me something solid and good. It could be a sequel. It could be, a new IP. Like when Starfield comes out, just make it good, right? That's the biggest thing. I don't want to jump into the Bethesda buggy mess that, Elder Scrolls was, or Fallout 4 was, or Fallout 76, for God's sakes. That was a disaster. But, I mean, just use these studios and make it, I know games are going to have bugs. I totally understand that. Just don't make it mostly that. Make it, oh, okay, well, yeah, there's a kind of a little bug here. Oh, this guy's clipping through a bush. I don't care about that kind of garbage. Just give me, some solid,
like,
good
here
games.
we go. Now I'm talking. Now we're thinking
Halo,
outside the box.
No.
Come on, Elder Scrolls Halo.
No,
I mean, I don't even know how that would work.
Nick's like, I'm just saying right now, no, cut it.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
See, Black X for the super chat, man. Pretty sure I've known Downie for 10 years.
All right.
10 years, damn. I don't even remember 5 minutes ago, nonetheless, 10 years.
Appreciate that. I always appreciate the support, man.
What Elu said, it's like a bold move that I want good games. But I mean, based on what we've gotten, within the last year or two, I mean, it's really not a huge ask. I don't want a broken ass game coming out that I'm paying $60 for, or $15 a month for my subscription service, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $39.99.
Right. Yeah. Let's do that.
But see, I think the most exciting thing to me that people aren't talking about is, like, I like getting wild and weird with this stuff. Like, yeah, everyone's like, Elder Scrolls 6 launching on Game Pass. Like, that's the big focal point a lot of people are talking about.
That just saves me a little bit of money. I want to see something crazy.
Like, for me, you've got In Exile with Brian Fargo, who created the original Fallout games.
Sure.
He's one of the creative minds behind the original Fallout games. You own Obsidian, who made Fallout New Vegas, which was one of the best Fallout games.
Yes.
And now you have Bethesda, who made Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. You have all of those under one umbrella.
Yep.
Make something with that. I want to see In Exile, Obsidian, and Bethesda cross-pollinate and compare notes and just make an RPG that's phenomenal again. And like you're talking about the tech, like, people really do not understand the miracle that is the Idtech Engine.
Right.
Like that took the VCR 2013 Xbox One and made Doom Eternal run at a locked 60. Like, that is witchcraft. I don't care what anyone says. That is witchcraft to what they can do with that engine. And it's because they know so much about it. It's very much the same with, if you want to do a comparison, it's very much like Guerrilla Games with their own in-house engine as well. The Decima engine. They know every inch of that engine. They know they can do specific things in that engine. And what they can bring with that engine is incredible, because I said back in 2019, Bethesda will get bought by Xbox. And people laughed at me because they're like, well, why would they just buy them for just the games? I'm like, well, they're trying to build game stacks. So you add Idtech to game stack. You're talking, that's good money right there. You talk about the Orion Tech they debuted at, E3, where they're talking about low latency streaming technology. And everyone's like, why is Bethesda working on low lag streaming technology? Why is that something they're focusing on? Are they going to have a streaming service? What are they doing? And now with that acquisition, it's just a lot of smart moves all consolidating together, because without a doubt now, with the acquisition of Bethesda, Xbox is the place to play Western RPGs and first-person shooters.
Very true.
Period. End of story. Wolfenstein, Doom, everything else is multi-plat. You start talking RPGs, you've got Wasteland, you've got Fallout, you've got Elder Scrolls, you've got Fable, you've got the list goes on.
Yeah,
and
Outer
on.
Worlds, Avowed, new IPs. Yep.
Yeah, like this. People don't realize that this generation is going to be the renaissance of gaming. This is going to be, to me, is going to be people's 1997 through 2004. That's what this is going to be. Like, for context, like so many of the best games ever were released in that 7-year period. I could go on for days about that. We're heading into another period like that, and it's really exciting.
Yeah. Great comments. And it's funny because I was telling someone yesterday, actually, I wrote an article in like 2017 about the golden age of gaming. And it feels like I'm going to be rewriting that soon. because we just are coming to that stage, to your point. And as someone like me who loves FPS games and loves Western RPGs, like I'm beyond excited at the potential here, because you nailed it. Between the creators, the IPs, and the tech, I mean, it's unbelievable what they have the potential to create.
Quake when? Come on, Doom 2016 Quake, and I'll buy everything. I'll even Game Pass it. I will buy everything full price. I don't even care.
Darge, man, what what we're touching on here, exciting, man. Is there anything like that really excites you here, or anything that you'd want to see if you could just go to Phil and say, hey, make this? What do you want to say?
No, I just like for me, like with Bethesda, I'm not like a big Fallout player. I sort of actually Rage. I can't remember Rage 2 when it came out, but I think Colt and that was telling me to play it.
Yeah.
But I feel like something else came out a week later or something. I dropped it, but I was actually enjoying it. But I do like. What I want is that I want the next Doom game, because I've really enjoyed the rebooted Doom series. And you say about the engines and the tech and everything that Microsoft have acquired, but then they've got this slip space engine that we ain't even seen yet. Ain't it meant to be like the most expensive one that they've chucked loads of money into building it? I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, but it just be all this Xbox have no games, and this whole like narrative of like 60, 70 rated games and that. I mean, they're really getting into a situation now where they're not going to have any excuse for it, because the talent that they've acquired, the artists that they've acquired, everything now. It's like you say, like it should be a really good time coming up with the games that will end up flowing out. Like, yeah. I'm more like you say. I'm more. Also, actually, I'd like to see them do like Tango, do a new horror new IP though. Do you know what I mean? Because I've actually dabbled with the Evil Within, and I like it, but I've never finished it. So I've got to go back to it. Yeah, and it's like obviously it's that Resident Evil sort of setting, like because obviously he was the guy when he behind it.
Shinji Mikami.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, it's exciting to see what they're going to... Obviously, it's going to be that thing of, like, we've got to wait. Like we've always got to wait for everything. But, I mean, like you say, you just look at it. They don't give you a roadmap. But, like, just even before Bethesda, like, Avowed, Hellblade 2, this is all coming. Like, this is all going to start flowing, really, from Halo Infinite onward. There might be a bit of a gap again, but once it starts, like, I was thinking earlier, like back in the day, we're spoiled for choice now with the amount of games 100%. That come to us anyway. Like there's like literally a AAA banger every other week or at least once a month, like back in the day, it didn't feel like that. With Game Pass, for example, like the money that you put into that sub, like you're well going to get your money's worth out of it. And that's without any, like obviously they've got that partnership with EA Play. So you get those games as well. That's without anything else that happens further down the line. Like it's, the content is going to be good. Like there's no way that the games are going to instantly just turn to shit because they've got Xbox at the top of them now, there's no way.
Well, I think to your point about wait, and I know Dan and I talk about that a lot, is, we've been talking about waiting for that cycle to begin for a while now. And I think, as you also just said, Darge, there's no roadmap. And I think I actually see that as a positive. And the reason being, right, is it does feel like for once they really are giving true creative freedom to these teams. And when that's happening, and obviously the pandemic's one aspect of it, but, developing the types of games we've all said is that we want them to be quality out of the gate. We don't want these buggy launches, right? And it takes time. Everyone knows it takes time.
I'll make like just cutting in, like you're exactly right. And like as gamers, like obviously we all want games, you know what I mean? We can't wait.
Yeah.
But like just going back to Prince of Persia, that remake, the Sands of Time.
Yeah.
Now, I really enjoyed that game on the 360 back in the day, so I was excited for this. Yeah. When they did the reveal trailer for it, that looked like absolute garbage. Yeah, and if we didn't pipe up and allow them to take more time, they'd just release it. They'd take your money. You know what I mean? So giving dates and roadmaps and that, you're right. Just let them get it ready.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there was a lot of pressure on Halo Infinite.
Yes.
Microsoft knew it. The pandemic hit, and they were like, "We got to get this out." And then when they showed what they showed, but at least they listened instead of going, "Just take it," you know?
Yes, exactly right. It's the smartest move they've made with that game, and we're seeing the fruits of it, which we're going to touch on here shortly on Halo Infinite new details because they sound pretty amazing. But yeah, you're exactly right. I think once Dan and you and I have touched on this many times, but once that cycle begins, where you're getting those games every month, big AAA games every few months. Once that it's a snowball downhill. It's not going to stop at that point because you have too many developers, too many studios. It's just that cycle is going to be amazing to see. So,
that's really the thing. Make it indispensable for gamers. And you're good to go.
Yeah.
We can. I know there's 200 plus games on there right now, but I honestly couldn't tell you what the last one I downloaded was. As much as I think it's a good value. Sorry, got a foot itch. But I think people are going to find value on it. I think once those, you're getting 3 to 4 big AAA games from these big studios, then at that point you're going to be like, okay, you have to have this. There's no not having it. You'll find a way to play it. And at that point, I think it's going to go to these other systems. I doubt it, but we'll see. It's going to be humongous.
Yeah,
it's just I understand it takes time. It just sucks because we've been saying that for like 10 years.
Yeah, of course. I think the conversation, we don't have to stay on it, but the conversation about Game Pass going to other platforms, be it other consoles, is a whole nother conversation. And I think that's going to evolve. I think at this point in time, it's too early to have that as a serious conversation. But I think in time, over the next few years, as everything we've talked about continues to evolve, that conversation will get more pertinent. They're just depending on what comes next for those things.
I think by that point, right, that we get to that point where somebody's like, oh yeah, you could put it on Arch system or whatever. It's going to be on TVs where you're going to just be able to stream it. So you don't even need a system. So Correct. It's not even going to make a difference whether they put it on a PlayStation or a Switch because, that's basically you're creating yourself an extra step, assuming that you have the good internet to run it. And, once we hit that point, I think it'll be I think that'll come before everything else myself. So it's going to basically make it, the argument moot at that point. So
yeah, well,
we'll see what happens.
I've been preaching that stuff for a long time.
Right. Or you go out and you buy a dongle or whatever, whatever it is.
Dongle, #dongle.
#dongle.
All right, man. Xbox and Bethesda. So we've kind of covered each of the major topics there. Anything else you guys want to add before we jump over to Halo Infinite?
No.
All right. Good. Let's move to Halo Infinite then, because I know Darge mentioned the Slipspace engine, which again is it's an interesting thing in and of itself. I mean, it was built by 343, good God, 343 from the ground up for the future of Halo, right? And we've been told definitively that Halo Infinite is a foundation. It's not just a game. It's the foundation of what's to come for Halo in the future. And they will expand the Halo universe through Halo Infinite, hence the name Halo Infinite. But like we've seen with other kind of major engines and / open world partial engines that are built for this type of specific title or universe, I'm sure that among all of the studios and everything we just touched on with Bethesda, there's potential there to be used for different things, right? Or collaborations to be used, things to learn. So it's really, really incredible when you think about it that way. But what I wanted to talk about today were the new details of Halo Infinite. And did you guys read through these or check these out? I know Darge and Dan, I'm probably talking to two guys who probably don't care as much. So I'll start with Nick here. Nick, did you read through these details and watch this kind of interview with these 5 team members from 343?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think, man?
I think it's It's so funny because Halo's always been this conflict. It's always been in an inner conflict with its fan base because you've got half the fan base that's like, no, I just want you to keep copy and pasting Halo 1 and putting a new number in front of it, and that's why I love Halo. And then you have another half that's been saying, we want something different. We want you guys to take risks and do everything else. And I think they're taking a lot of risks with Halo Infinite, the kind of like hub world, open world, the day-night cycle, how it affects missions and everything else. There is so much interesting things that I never thought I'd see in a Halo game. Like, these are things that I never went, after playing Halo 5, they're not things I went, Halo needs to do this. It's things they're just like, oh, that's really cool. You guys are really trying to do something different. And I really like that because, like, my only qualm with Halo as an overall whole is, especially when you play the Master Chief Collection, you very much feel how little evolution as a whole the core loop has to it. Like, everyone likes to yell about sprinting and ADS and everything else, but you're all wrong. No matter which opinion you have, you're just wrong. But no, Halo Infinite is going to be, I think it's going to have, I was going to compare it to the original Destiny, but I don't want to have the same result at the original Destiny at launch. But it's going to be that big of an event. Like, if everyone remembers when Destiny released, everybody was just like, whoa, it's a new FPS from Bungie. It's doing all these weird things, because a lot of the things Destiny does as a standard now, everybody does. But when Destiny first came out in 2013, 2013, it was mind-blowing, some of the stuff they were doing. And I think that's going to be the case with Halo Infinite. They're doing a bunch of stuff that maybe other developers has kind of touched on, but they're doing it in their own way. Just exploring a world in Halo versus playing a linear level is going to be really exciting to me.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, I kind of watched the whole thing yesterday and caught up on it and typed up some notes and stuff. And so, there's a lot, and you can find the full list on our site if you want to know all the details from the video. But let me just touch on some of these, right? So obviously it's a full world, a ring world. It's called Zeta Halo, as you can see right now. It has a full day and night cycle with weather patterns, things like wind and fog systems. It's an open world design, but it's not, they weren't going for the whole kind of open world tropes that you see in other games, where it's like you got to pick up materials and do crafting, and there's no weapon upgrades, because they just said that didn't feel like Halo. Like, people with all these custom assault rifles, like, that's not Halo. But they said, there's some really cool stuff in here. There's a lot of wildlife. Focus was bringing the world to life with unique animal behaviors. The open world design was meant to feel like an expansion of the large Halo missions. So, of course, there's certain missions in each Halo game that feel kind of more grandiose. And they said, so it's the open world design is connected. These locations are connected. So, like, you could be flying over to a mission over here, and you could see a stronghold over here and see a base over there. And there's going to be all these things kind of going on around you. And they really wanted, they said one of their biggest priorities was player agency. So being able to discover things on your own. There's no invisible walls here. One of the things that drove me nuts about Days Gone, among the many, is, like, you had to explore that world through a specific path. Like, there could be a hill right here, and it's like, oh, let me just jump up that hill. Nope, you got to go all the way down here and around and down to get up there. And it's like, that doesn't feel like a real world to me.
They forced you to use that motorcycle no matter what.
You even if you didn't want to.
That. Yeah,
Exactly. So this sounds really cool. And they said there's, a lot of biomes. And if you think about it, they designed it after the Pacific Northwest. But within that, there's wetlands, there's swamps, there's high altitude, there's war-torn areas. And then each of those have like a sub, which is more relevant at times to either the Covenant, the Promethean, or the Banished, which are all three very different things from a design perspective. So, and they said that even the skybox, like the actual sky, is fully 3D rendered and will change at certain times of the day. And they said it's even possible for the ring to eclipse the sun, and it almost does like a blackout midnight while you're playing. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like this. All the cutscenes, they said, if you liked what you saw in God of War, you're going to like it here because all the cutscenes are not pre-rendered or pre-scripted. They're all real-time in-engine, and whatever's happening in the world around you when the cutscene occurs is what's going to be happening in the cutscene. What weapons you have, if it's nighttime or daylight or whatever. And it's just, I could go on, but a lot of these things are very, very exciting. And I think to your point, Nick, the response I've seen traditionally from Halo fans is is almost a war within the community of, you've got this huge split of what people want to see. But I think they're doing probably the best job they can possibly do here of mixing old with new and kind of bringing everyone on board to the idea of what Halo Infinite's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things is I think there's always been this war about, what we want from Halo, but I think the Halo community as a whole has just kind of come together and go, look, we just want a good Halo game, no matter what that means. And I think that's a really important thing that's been, from the feedback they got when they did the reveal and everything else. I think that's been a primary focus is just making a Halo game that they can call their own and, make as many of the fans happy as they can.
Yeah, 100%. So we Kev's asking, Darge, did we miss your abs? You changed your shirt.
Oh, mate, I was like fucking sweating in here, like being in Vegas or something. I had to go to the toilet as well, so I was like, I got to change his jumper. Yeah, who's asking? Kev. I'll send Kev a photo.
Yeah, slide into his DMs real quick when you get done.
Yeah, I will.
Fonz, good to see you, man. Good to see Fonz Early Gaming stopping by. Good friend of the show. Appreciate it, man. I'm usually asleep. No worries, man. No worries.
If anybody wants to see my ab, then let me know, and I will slide into your DMs. It's pretty spectacular.
Be real. Give me 1 second, then I'm blocking you real quick. Hold on.
Okay. Right.
Okay, thanks.
No
So, Darge or Dan, I don't know if you read through any of these details. I don't know if the concept of what they're doing with Infinite interests you more from a campaign perspective than my maybe prior entries. But I think there's a lot from what they've talked about here that is going to just create a more kind of a broader gameplay experience that might pull in people who previously may not have enjoyed Halo as much.
Maybe. I mean, that's, we kind of talked about it last week, I think, where I said it was kind of, it sounded more like a God of War, hub world kind of, with these different places you can go. I didn't know anything about the cutscenes and whatever. That's cool. We've seen that in Ghost Recon Breakpoint where it glitches out and these weird guys just kind of show up in the middle of cutscenes. Totally unintentional, I'm sure. But
are you really comparing Breakpoint to Infinite? Come on.
Yes.
Stop it.
Well, actually, no. To Dan's point, I really want to see a grunt running in circles in the background. Just a very serious cutscene.
Exactly.
Grunt just sitting there with the plasma grenade stuck to his hand.
Running at
and
you
then
like
blowing up in the background.
See, you bring in the good parts of these games and kind of smack them all together. I'm just excited that I can kick somebody off the ring. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work exactly. That's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to find the edge, and then that's where the entire game will take place for me. Like if you need to come talk to me about some kind of story progression, I'm over here.
Yeah.
And then I'll just 300 everybody. The entire game.
I think one of the real interesting things here too, it says obviously there's bases, outpost missions, everything. They said the game also has the ability to react to player decision making. So they said the goal is really to provide gameplay encounters based on what the player is doing at the moment. So they gave an example of you're going to a mission on foot, right? And you're headed over there, but then you jump in a Wasp, which is a small flying vehicle in Halo. They said the game has the capability to recognize where you are in the world and that you're in a Wasp and present kind of a random encounter that is fun to play while being in a Wasp, which is kind of interesting, right? Because if you think about the vehicles, across Halo, there's many kind of notable ones and different gameplay scenarios that can happen with those. And they also said there's legendary or there's kind of special weapons hidden all throughout the world as well. And if you know the lore of Halo, there's tons of, named weapons that were unique to certain people. So, I think it sounds like it's going to be not even touching on multiplayer, of course, but it sounds like the campaign you're going to get a lot more gameplay time out of than you maybe did in some of the past games if you were just a one and done campaign guy.
Yeah,
it's interesting too. It's interesting too. The one thing that really interests me about that whole, encounters change as the way you approach them is I'm starting to think we're seeing, because I know everyone's getting tired of it, but we've always seen all these smaller games. They're procedurally generated, like Dead Cells and things like that, where it's procedural generation. The levels are always different, et cetera, et cetera. But we're watching the developers now use procedural generation, not to change the map or change the landscape or anything, but change how the encounters and how the AI reacts to those encounters within what you do. And I think that's a really interesting part of procedural generation that we haven't really seen a lot of yet. And I think that's something that's going to set a lot of games apart from each other if they figure out how to do it right. Yeah,
I think it's more impactful in certain games specifically, for sure, like this one probably, than the world design, right? Because if you're, at least in my experience, it's hard for a procedurally generated world to have the same feel as when a designer gets to set up the world that they want you to experience, right? Now, but if you make an interesting world and throw in random, chaos that can ensue, that's a lot more interesting to me. So,
like if, for example, like say you're running a sniper rifle and a DMR, and you go to approach a stronghold, and say a Far Cry like game, it would have a bunch of foot soldiers, a couple LMG guys, and you could just pick them all off, clear the camp without being seen, and away you go. But if this game adapts in a way where you're talking like you go to the stronghold and there's jackals with snipers counter sniping you the entire time, so you have to change up as you play. If that's what the kind of encounters they're talking about, that's really interesting. It could be really cool to experience.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel the same way. So Darge, man, what do I have to do to get you into a Halo game today?
Put it on Game Pass.
I got Gaz, little Gaz.
Little Gaz.
He gave me a lot of stick. So I said, all right. So I installed the Master Chief Collection, went to the first one, and even though they've done great work with remastering it, so to speak, making it a bit better looking than that. Yeah. Gameplay wise, I'm like,
Halo CD is very dated nowadays.
I'm suffering, but one thing I will say, I can see it in the chat. It's a huge franchise, and it's people discussing all what 343 is saying and that, and that's good. Yeah. But for me, obviously, someone without too much of it, what they showed at that showcase, gameplay wise, like I said, I love Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, the movement with the grappling hook, this sort of stuff. I'm like, yeah, give me that, because it looks fast. It looks like it's going to be a good game. They've had all this time to polish it further and improve it further. Yeah. All these updates that they're putting out and that, they're for you guys, to get excited. But for me, I'm just like, just give me the game, and then I'll play it. But like I said, I've said to Gaz and that, Halo is such a big franchise that it's going to get the most critiquing. I think when this game comes out, with that extra time that it's had, and the fact that it's Halo and a new engine, everything that's gone into this game, it's going to get judged hard. So it has to, as you'd say, knock it out of the park, Yep. But I'm definitely playing it day one. That's why I'm trying to catch up, So I sort of know the story, because Gaz is like Mr. Halo. He gave me a lot of stick for not playing those games. So but I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave little Gaz here up on the screen for a while. We'll just let it sit there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it, man.
He
knows what he is. He knows what he is. He's the little guy with the big personality.
There you go.
Well, you guys talk about all these things that are, potentially going into it, and again, I don't worry too much about it, but that's a lot, and I hope they make it to where everything works together and seamlessly. Obviously, that's the goal, but we saw what happened in December, and I don't want that to happen again, especially with a series that's so beloved as Halo. You do what you can. You delayed it. Good call. Make sure we're good to go. And it sounds like they're cutting back a few things here and there. I don't know what the elite stuff was with and no dual wielding and stuff. Were people mad?
That's
I don't even know what the hell that
back.
is.
It's just that speaks to Nick's comment about
Halo.
If it's ever been in a Halo game ever, there's going to be someone that bitches it's not in the next one.
Gotcha.
Halo Reach was fine. It didn't have dual wielding. You will survive.
Yeah, I didn't even know what the hell it was.
No.
I know what dual wielding. I didn't know.
Playable elites is just like in Halo 3 multiplayer, you could be an elite instead of a Spartan model.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what was the problem?
That's it.
That's the thing with Halo. The thing with Halo is Halo fans are so picky about certain aspects that 343 had to list those things, because if the game launched and they didn't mention them, they'd be like, they do the whole nasal thing they do. They're like, excuse me, where are my elites in Halo multiplayer? I'm really mad about this. I'm going to talk about it on Reddit. That's all
what I
they
told
do.
Dan. Don't pay any attention to that nonsense.
Fantastic.
That's exactly what it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So playable elites and dual wielding aren't a big deal. In fact, I don't know about you, Nick, but dual wielding in and of itself is almost it doesn't do much. It never did much for me. I mean, it's almost like a gimmick. What I mean?
Yeah. Like there was very few times in Halo, especially multiplayer, where I was like, dual wielding's the key. Dual wielding outside of the Wolfenstein games by Machine Games, dual wielding typically doesn't feel that great in most games. So not seeing it is whatever.
Yep.
Fantastic. Whatever. I just make sure these things work together. That's what we're,
Yeah. Cohesiveness is what you're talking.
Cohesiveness, and don't overshoot it.
Yeah.
Do what you can. Make it good. Don't go out too far. It's not. We want to do all this stuff, and everything's going to work, nicely and together. And I'm not buying it yet.
Yeah. See, Mo says it right here. Who cares about dual wielding? No, Nick nailed it. There's 8 people out there sitting somewhere saying, I'm not buying this because of dual wielding. No one's listening to it.
This is this is the Halo equivalent to ramps. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
All right. No problem. Now I understand.
What was it? Was it Halo? It was Halo 5 that introduced ADS, right?
Yes.
Full ADS.
Full ADS.
I remember when they introduced that. There was so many people like, Halo isn't about ADS. How can you aim down sight in a Halo game and it'd be okay? And I'm like, guys, this is an Unreal Tournament in the 90s anymore.
Right.
We need to move on.
and look at what it did for the championship series. It made it so much more clicking the right thumbstick to zoom in, even with a DMR, right? It's so much more intuitive with the Magnum and the DMR and the battle rifle in Halo 5. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Games evolve. Go figure. Halo's first name is Combat Evolved. Come on.
To that point as well, is one of the most glorified and critically acclaimed games is God of War from 2018, which was a complete evolution of what it was. Right. Yeah. And it got lauded as being a darling, and oh wow, they've completely changed it. Yeah. But whenever even Doom, I see it with Doom. Yeah, when they changed things and people were critiquing, with the traversal systems in Eternal, that Doomslayer, shut up. Just try different things, try. It's like Halo, people want to start splitting hairs over stuff that they're trying. Even Gears of War, Gears 5, some people criticize the fact that it was semi-open world and you could explore certain areas because it was a corridor shooter. And it's I enjoyed Gears 5.
Me too.
Some people are too quick to complain,
Always. You know how that is. It's we want everything to be the same, but that's not how things work.
Right, the jump button. I swear to God, if anybody's in the chat that complained about God of War not having a jump button back in the day, block me. I don't care.
I'm deleting my platinum because I wanted a jump button.
Yeah, that was it. That was the big thing. Oh my God, this game doesn't even have a jump button.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Kratos is so old now; his knees don't work, so he can't jump.
It's infuriating.
Yeah. No. As Mo said. Yeah. We got it. And we're not even going to talk about ramps. The greatest take of 2020. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, we don't usually name names, but there was an editor at a major site who said about Cyberpunk, which, keep in mind, is built on an existing franchise. It's built in a lore that's been there for years and years and years, that the open world driving was boring because there's not ramps that you can jump around and, fly off of. And you're like, where are you? Like, how do you work for a major company right now?
Out of all the problems you could point out of that game,
there's no ramps.
There's no ramps.
Can we stop trying to make every open world game GTA 5? Because GTA 5's not that good. Get over it.
Ramps.
Oh my God. Pampa in the house. $5 Pampa. Get ready for infinite teabags and Halo. Oh yes, man. Dude. It's going to be like a pallet Amazon order of teabags when Infinite launches. It's going to be out of control. I can't wait.
Man, more reason for me not to play that.
Teabag.
I'm missing something. Who's drinking tea?
You never teabagged a dude?
Oh, that's teabag. It's just I have my English hat on there, and I thought, what's going on? Before you guys drank coffee.
Dan, I'm going to take a $5 wager with you right now. How long before we see an article on an undisclosed site talking about how toxic teabagging is in Halo Infinite?
Yeah.
I'm not taking that bet. I'm not taking it.
It's probably going to be IGN. I'm just going with it. Or Kotaku.
Oh my God. So, all right. So, obviously a ton more to come on Halo here in the future. But let's jump it back, man. Let's jump it back. So Dotemu, just out of nowhere, basically showed off this new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, Shredder's Revenge, this week. And I know it caught a lot of attention because of, quite frankly, it gave, I think, a lot of us old guys nostalgia for the old TMNT arcade game and games. But this looks really, really good. I'm super excited about this. I realize it's not a big AAA release or anything here.
Oh, no.
But I'm excited, man. Co-op, beat 'em up, classic. Graphics. Yep. I mean, it looks right. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'll quickly jump in on that because I don't like all these topics. But I'll talk about I know what's going on, but that trailer, like when I saw that, I think it was Shinobi who shared it on Twitter, and I saw it. Yeah, that literally like hit me. Like just to see that again, it reminded me of the arcade machine, like that used to go on the old school. It's like got that old art style.
Yeah.
And that like when you say there, it's not AAA. It's like it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like that wasn't meant to be a bad thing, by the way.
No. I know you, but I'm saying like some people will be like, oh, do you know what I mean? But like, see, Streets of Rage 4 that came out last year. Was it last year or the start of this year? Like they did such a good job with that game. Like, and those side scroller beat 'em ups, like it's just nostalgic for people like us. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, when I see this and I see the art stuff, even the trailer, like the animation, like the drawings that they used in the actual trailer was like the old cartoon.
Yeah.
It was just like a proper nostalgic hit. So, did they, because I see them say about putting it in your wish list in Steam, but have they confirmed console versions?
Good.
Does anyone know?
I did not look.
I'm sure it'll come. I'm sure it'll get, but like the main trailer was saying about add it to your wish list.
I thought it was confirmed for them. Let me see if I can find it.
Might. It's bound to anyway, but it's a good thing. I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it. Definitely.
Is there no online co-op?
That's the other thing I was just looking up. Mo in the chat just said there's no online co-op at launch anyway. Yes, coming to PC and consoles, just no release date yet. Okay. So it sounds like couch co-op at least to start. Hopefully they add online co-op. I guess we'll see.
Huh. Yep. It's 2021. So, I don't even know what to tell you.
Yeah. I mean, think about all the other ones, right? We talked about Battletoads. You had Streets of Rage 4. You had Scott Pilgrim just made a resurgence, right? A re-release. Online co-op, especially for co-op beat 'em up, seems like a no-brainer at this point in time. Come on.
I mean, you almost have to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I mean, it looks all right. I mean, it looks like a kind of a refreshed version of the arcade game. So,
which is a good thing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you can screw up the turtles, but
don't say that.
Don't do that. Just don't screw it up. Cool. Also, let me play with my friend that's not sitting right next to me during the pandemic. So, not like I'm asking much.
Nick, anything to add here, man?
I'm excited for it because I played Streets of Rage 4, which was my first Streets of Rage game, because when Streets of Rage 3 released, I was a year old.
Oh, so, I forgot you're the youngin' in the house. Yeah.
I'm 27 years old, so when they were like Streets of Rage makes its return after like 20-something years. I'm like, oh Lord, I was barely born. So Streets of Rage 4 was brilliant, and I think this one's going to be brilliant as well, because I think the team behind this understands nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
Yep.
But the fact that they understand that, yes, visually nostalgia is a hell of a drug, but people don't want to play those games and have them feel like they used to. They want them to feel modern while looking retro and colorful and everything else. And that was kind of the brilliant thing with Streets of Rage 4 is the controls were good. They felt modern. They were free flowing. It was easy to pick up and play. Like, I never even played this series before, and I jumped right in, and it was fun. It was challenging and everything else. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it. And if they do the same work they did with Streets of Rage 4 with this one, it'll be another big hit. And I'm going to just start out there right now. This one will also be day one on Xbox Game Pass.
Nice prediction. You know what they don't understand? Online co-op.
So, it blows my mind because Streets of Rage 4 has online co-op.
Yes, it does. I played that game beginning to end with COG, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one doesn't. And it was the same thing with Battletoads. I remember Battletoads released, and we were in Maine lockdown up here. Like, I couldn't even leave my house except for work. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play Battletoads with my 3-year-old kid, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. But, I mean, I love the look of it. I love everything about it. I did not know that about online co-op. So it's like I was super excited and just got kind of let down a little bit. But you never know. I mean, if it seems to be a lot of... I was going to say, there seems to be a lot of interest in this game, right? So if they have a partnership with Xbox for Game Pass, it sells well on PC and other platforms, then, maybe they'll add it shortly after.
Now, hold on for a second. Like the Steam thing says single player online co-op, shared split screen co-op, full controller support on its on the Steam page.
It says online co-op.
Yeah.
Mo, are you screwing us up? We're blaming Mo for this.
Don't you do this.
Come on, Mo.
Come on, Mo. Get it together, man.
Screwed up the entire segment.
He's not going to be able to dab his way out of this one.
I'm just looking at it. It's a single player online co-op, shared split screen co-op, full controller support, remote play together. I don't know what the hell that means. But
yeah, that would generally insinuate that you can play with other people then.
Yeah.
All right.
Like online.
That's just a Steam thing. So
the Steam page.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of this and make sure we do an update here.
Yeah. Christ,
Mo. Gosh. I love you, Mo. We'll move on to before we just get to what we're currently playing and stuff. I want to touch on Dying Light 2 because we did get we've got an upcoming dev stream here next week, which we'll obviously talk about more next week. But this game, I don't know about you guys, but they have not shown much of this game at all. It won a ton of awards at E3 2019, so almost 2 years ago now. It looked fantastic in watching. We watched an entire mission at the closed door thing at E3 in 2019, and it just looked incredible. And it was one of our favorite games of the show. We did a video about it. And, we've heard a lot of rumors about Techland being in, the quote, development hell and all kinds of issues going on over there. But it's funny. They put out about this dev stream yesterday and someone made a comment to them about development hell. And they actually responded to it and just said that, what this game is going through is definitely not development hell. It's continued to make very good progress over the past many months. And they can't wait to show it off on I think it's Wednesday next week, right? The 17th?
Yeah. 17th. Yeah.
Okay. So who knows? Maybe it's a combination of circumstances. I'm usually a person that says, where there's smoke, there's some sort of little fire at least. So maybe they have had some issues, big games like this, that happens. But, it is a huge game. It's very ambitious from a world and mission design perspective. And as we say seemingly every week, there is a pandemic that really did, screwed up a lot of game development. So maybe it just needed a lot more time to bake, like we talked about it, and it's getting to the point now where they are finally ready to show this. And if they do come out, it shows well, and they announce like a summer release or some release date. I think all the stuff that's happened or not happened over the past 18 months will be quickly forgotten about, because the potential for this game is huge, and there's a massive community that supports the first one even now, like 5 years later. Because Techland did a fantastic job of supporting it and being, transparent with the community. So I don't know, guys. I'm really, really pumped about this. It's just it's hard to know exactly until we really see it, and this next week hopefully we'll answer those questions.
Well, and people kind of expected to I think they showed the game a little early, but there's a key story that a lot of people forgot is their lead writer was canned. Chris Avalon was fired quite quickly, and he was the narrative lead for Dying Light 2. So, and from my understanding is they actually scrapped a lot of his work when he was fired. Okay. So when you lose your your narrative lead and everything else, and you go back to the drawing board a bit, that's going to take a bit more time to kind of flesh out. They're doing some more technical stuff on the back end and try and make a really alive feeling world. So yeah, it's going to take more time, and I definitely think they just showed it off a little too soon. I will be surprised if this still comes to Xbox One and PS4 though. I feel like they're going to be like, hey, this is going to be coming in the future, but after the whole Cyberpunk thing, we reevaluated, and because Cyberpunk did a miracle thing of every developer has an easy out now of ditching their Xbox One and PS4 support, because they're like, hey, we care about you guys and we don't want to do the Cyberpunk thing. It's the easiest cop out ever.
Yeah, and there's the what they're trying to do with this game from a world perspective, and the whole factions and zombie crossovers, the parkour system. It is a very ambitious game. And it's very obvious when they have shown this game, even at E3, of course, it was running on, at the time, a top PC for obvious reasons. So I think you're right. It won't surprise me, especially if they're not releasing it till late this year or early next. Because, at that point, there's obviously going to be a greater adoption of these new consoles. I mean, people are adopting them quickly. The only reason they haven't sold as much so far is due to logistics and everything going on with the whole semiconductor stuff. It's production issues, not really interest issues. So, yeah, I think you're right there. I don't know. Darge, Dying Light, you get into that at all? You dabble with it?
No, I didn't play it. People I trust, like Colt loves it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's another one on the backlog, so to speak. They revealed it. You heard about financial troubles. I don't know whether it was confirmed or not. Did I not hear that Xbox or Microsoft were funding something behind that? Did they jump in and help them at some point with the game? Was that a rumor?
Yeah, I don't believe so. I mean, there's been rumors for a while, and it's more rumblings on Twitter about Xbox potentially buying Techland.
That might be where it was.
But Techland is Polish, and those Polish companies like Techland, CDPR, Bloober Team, Poland supports the game developers from a government standpoint as well. Yeah. So it's a very different structure there. That's why when people talk about acquisitions of those companies, I'm always a little kind of hold on.
I just feel like, they revealed the game as if to say, yep, it's coming, Delays, everything's been delayed.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, even bigger publishers have, so to speak, shit themselves since Cyberpunk has happened. Whether you enjoyed Jar Sicario, again, I know he enjoyed the game, Fonz enjoyed the game, but it doesn't mean that there weren't problems with the game.
Right.
And everyone sort of delaying stuff, so to speak. But I mean, if they've come out and said, no, we're fine, we're on track. At the end of the day, everyone who's had some sort of delay or it's been extended out, you're expecting a better product from. If that game comes and is trash, then it's going to be worse. But yeah, I'm definitely the parkour stuff and that. I'm definitely looking forward to Wednesday to see what they show.
Yeah, me too. I'm very curious to see.
I just feel like delays, like you say, even with the hardware, like people are like a PlayStation 5 in the UK and an Xbox Series S or X are like rocking all shit at the minute. Like you just can't, you can't like, and that's a knock-on effect through everything, because of the pandemic. Production's slower.
Yep.
And with the games as well, working from home and stuff. So it's like we're going to be seeing stuff delayed through to next year.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So everyone's back at work.
Yeah, Carl at Season Gaming, he's been trying to get a PS5 since launch in the UK, and he got lucky and got one last week. But it took him 5 months, to be able to actually get one.
Yeah, I heard today I had a conversation because I drove like 7 hours to someone who I knew had a console for sale at Christmas for my nephew. And he obviously games a lot. He's 14 and he's starting to have that really bad drifting issue with the controllers.
Okay.
So I heard there's a thing going on in the States with them and that. But yeah, it's all like, do you know what I mean? Like it's the pandemic's just affected everything, the world over. So this is just delays on a game, although we don't like it. We can't sit here and really be selfish and start going, do you know what I mean? So it's just the way the world is at the minute.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring everyone down. Just to remind everyone what's happening at the minute.
Dan, I can't remember because we haven't talked about Dying Light forever. Yeah. Were you a Dying Light guy?
Like, here's the thing about that game. I loved everything about it except for the actual content, which sounds stupid.
What do you mean by content?
Well, like the actual, the horror aspect of it, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Like the gameplay was awesome. I love the crafting system. I loved all that stuff. And like me making it past like the 4-hour mark, I've tried that game 3 times. It's so hard because I can't get past like when it goes dark and that whatever that thing is chasing you and you're just running. And you know what I'm talking about?
Well, they get ultra aggressive at night and
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So but everything else about it, I loved it. There was so much potential. The stuff we saw at E3 whenever it happened with the Dying Light 2 was 2018 maybe.
Yeah, no, it was 2019 when they.
Was it 2019?
Yeah.
Okay.
They won a bunch of awards at E3. I mean, that's how good the gameplay presentation
everybody got a statue. It was like, yay.
Yeah, I got the statue sitting right there.
There you go.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it looks really cool, like what they showed. But now I have no idea. I think up until now, from then till this point, with everything that's happened, what the hell does it look like now? Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah.
Here in a few days. But I haven't the slightest idea. So I'm down with it though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, it has the potential. We always say that, but the potential for this game is massive. And I think it's more encouraging seeing what Techland's done for the support with the community with Dying Light 1, which I mean, just got big expansions. It got tons of free updates, and they just kept updating it.
Yeah,
which is great. So I mean, if they have a bigger, better world in Dying Light 2 with more content, and they have that same support model for years to come, could be a really big IP. Really big. So cool. Nick, I know you've got to head out in a little bit, so I wanted to get to you before you do around, what you've been playing, what you've been up to, what's good.
Playing a little bit everything right now, honestly. Got PS5 like 2 weeks ago because I literally had the best luck in the world. I walked into my EB Games and was like, hey, how does one go about trying to get on a list or a notification list for getting a PS5? And they're like, oh, well, we had a guy whose pre-order came in, but he hasn't paid us. Do you have the money right now? And I was like, yep, here's my money. Got the PlayStation 5. Away I went. Someone did not have a good day after that, but it wasn't me, so it was okay.
Suck it, dude.
yeah, I've been playing a lot of Spider-Man Miles Morales, just polishing off the platinum on that.
Cool.
Got back into the Division 2 on Xbox
Yes.
because I was like, oh, well, I should just look at the enhancements and play that for like half an hour and then move on. And then I played for 4 hours, and now I'm playing the game every night again. And
it's addicting as hell, man.
Oh, it's absolutely, it's impossible to separate from. And yeah, I'm working on for a piece on WC, so I've been kind of installing a bunch of Bethesda games to get screenshots. And trying not to get sucked into games like Morrowind again, and just opening up the game, loading my save, getting a couple of screen grabs, and then trying to exit without getting too invested. And it's honestly hard. And other than that, just relaxing and watching my wife play through BioShock for like the 15th time. So
nice. That's awesome. Can you say what the piece is on? Is the piece on Bethesda or something else?
It's a little bit about games that people may not have played from the Bethesda back catalog, and that are now part of Xbox Game Pass. So the things that are part of your membership that you may not know about, or maybe you should play, Evil Within and things like that. Yeah.
Great games. I need to go back and play 2, and 2's been updated too, so I really need to go back and play it. Sweet, man. Darge, what you got going on, man? What you been playing? I know you mentioned Division earlier too, but you playing anything good?
If I'm being honest, mate, I've just got, like I say, I've gone back to work 2-3 weeks ago. It's just been crazy, like working weekends. I haven't really played a lot, if I'm being honest. The last sort of thing I did play was Division 2.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got a load of stuff to play. I mean, I started the medium. I enjoyed it, actually. I actually really enjoyed what I played of that game. I know, like, a lot of people, obsessed about the fact that there wasn't a weapon as such. But I think Bloober Team actually did, though. They came out and said it was more of an experience game. It was more to do with the environment and the story. So yeah, I've still got to go back to that, finish that. Control, obviously, I want to jump into that. I've got loads going on, man. But I'll probably just do another week at work and probably won't get a lot of time to do anything.
That's fair enough. Completely fair enough. Understood. Dan, I know we've talked a lot about Division 2 lately. In fact, I might be jumping in. We're going to try to do raids soon.
Let me know, man.
Yeah, you're already counted as part of the team, so you better be ready.
I'm always ready.
Play Legendary again? You want to try that?
No, absolutely not. That's insane.
So for those listening, I tried to explain Legendary, which is the hardest thing you can do in Division 2. Like very late end game, maximize build, have to have a full squad of 4 that are ready to go. And I was like, yeah, let's try it later. And Dan's like, I'll just jump in and check it out. I've been doing really good on whatever level you were playing on. You texted me back like 30 seconds later. You're like, I'm already dead. Like, yeah, that didn't last.
It's hard work.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So, I did talk to my future son-in-law last night who runs Legendary missions, and he was explaining to me what to do. So it's all about skill builds. He said skill. So we've got to recover
and let everything else do the work for you.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
That's boring as hell.
Well, you do it in a squad, right? So you've basically got turrets and fireflies and healing and all this stuff going on while you're shooting.
Oh, you're still shooting. I guess.
Of course, you're not just sitting there. But I mean,
that's what I would be doing.
But anyway, yeah. So besides Division 2, man, you play anything else good?
It's fun. I played Anthem a few times.
I've played Anthem too, actually,
and
which made me more sad.
Yeah, and I went and spent some money on that I had already.
I was going to say you didn't spend new money.
No, I did not buy anymore. I was able to get rid of maybe half of what I had, so I still have some more. So hopefully, BioWare just keep changing that, weekly thing. Maybe I'll get a few more. Maybe I'll get it all spent one day.
We'll do a giveaway. We'll do a giveaway for Anthem currency.
Yeah, I just have to adjust when I make fun of you on my podcast for like $60 in currency. I now have to know Dan has $30 worth of currency in Anthem.
Yeah, I mean that's like closer right now. I think I bought originally 50. I'm down to about 25. So I'm about halfway. I'm buying
sure that you
too.
could. I'm pretty sure you could maybe pawn it off to Luke, and he would find some good purpose for it. If you could pawn it off to somebody, Luke.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I only run like the Colossus, so I was like, okay, I just got to get Colossus stuff, and I was like, oh, I'll just buy this stupid emote because I can, because I have no other thing to do with it. It's funny because that's the kind of thing. Like when I logged into Sea of Thieves last night, I've also been playing that a little bit. I had currency in that game.
Of course you did.
Right? Yeah, I was like, man, I haven't played this for like 6 months, and there's like $40 worth of stuff in here. I can buy like some boats. This is awesome. So that was cool. And I've been kind of plugging away, which is, I don't understand why I'm doing this, but I'm on Metal Gear Solid 5 again. I don't know why. I think I'm ignoring the story because I didn't understand it the first time I played it. I'm really not getting it this time either. But the combat mechanics and everything else about that game is so goddamn good.
What game?
Metal Gear Solid.
Oh.
5.
Like
everything else about it, aside from the Kojima-ness, is so good. Like the close quarter combat is like just so good. The stealth stuff is so good. Everything else is really, really good, but like I don't understand what's happening. So it's just frustrating. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But
so Nick, I know how to bounce.
Yeah.
Thank God. I thought he was going to say bye. He just dipped on us. So I'll shout out for him. So Nick, always welcome. He's on the Gaming Perspective on Tuesday nights now that I know they moved their time. So definitely check him out online. But yeah, man, I think I went back and played some Anthem 2, and it made me sad because I was having fun.
Yeah, me too.
It runs in 30 frames. It's not fully optimized. It's still beautiful, despite not being a Series X like update. But I was just having a lot of fun. I got into one of those, not strongholds, but one of those things you can do where you go somewhere and there was some like max level interceptor in there. And him and I just worked together and killed everything. He sent me a message afterwards, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm like, man, there's just so much potential for this game. And they did add some stuff to it since I last played it. But yeah, it's, we won't harp on it. But other than that, Division 2 and obviously Halo, been getting back into. So
you guys win your second round? Did you guys play it? I don't.
We played tonight.
Oh, you played tonight. I don't know why I thought you guys played already.
Tonight. So
all right.
Yeah, cool. I got to get ready. Someone earlier, I think it was Gaz, was saying, someone said I look sleepy. I need some sauce, and I said I'm saving my sauce for tonight, baby. Come on, I gotta be prepared. So, Darge, man, I don't think anyone has ever super chatted while being on the panel.
Yeah, man.
It's it's just it's good to be on. Like I do watch these shows. A few of the different, like Mo Kwama. I ended up through Game On doing a show with him. Got talking, started listening to backlogs. I listen to that all the time. So I'm always listening. Like I said to Dan before the start, like I always listen to the news with the gaming. I don't get to game too much. I don't have a lot of time, but I shut it, and I like listening to the discussion, you guys who live it, you play the games, you love it, like Season Gaming, Iron Lords, RDX, all of them, like Randall 4. I listen to all the different opinions and stuff, and it's nice to be able to jump on,
Yeah, no, it's great,
so
man.
Thanks.
Oh, no, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. So thanks for the super chat. Let me shout out a few things real quick. And, as I always say, if you've liked the show, you're listening, you're watching, please give us a like. Please share it out. It's usually appreciated. It kind of goes without saying. And I don't usually say it a lot, but it does help a lot. So a couple things going on. Yeah, Halo tournament. So Gaming Beyond the Box, our friends over there, Wilmy and the crew and Fork and Bomber and Lady and everyone, Husk. Round 2 is going on today and tomorrow for the tournament. Season Gaming, we play tonight at 10:30 Central. Late night primetime matchup against another favorite in the tournament, the Xbox Ultimate Podcast with Fun Speculation, Mav, and his crew. So it's going to be it's going to be crazy. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to stream it live. We'll see. I'm looking forward to playing tonight, but it's going to be a hot one.
Who are you guys playing?
Say it again.
Who you guys playing?
Who?
Yeah,
Fun Speculation, his wife Caitlin, and 3-Bit and Pong. Actually, Pong's their fourth member. So Pong was in the chat earlier and said, look, you looking tired. You don't have to play tonight. Don't worry about it. And I said, no, I'm going to be good for tonight. I get pumped for tournaments. So, 10:30, man, 10:30 Central. Make sure you join. I'll stream it if I need to. Pat's going to be streaming it too.
Dear Lord.
What?
10:30?
We had to work it out because Pong is on PTK's podcast and they've got that 200th episode tonight. So they're running late, and I was like, we're just gonna have to play late, but it's fine, man. And you know me, Saturday nights I'm up to like 4 a.m. anyway. So yeah, I can't wait. That's perfect for me and the crew. So we're pumped. Paul, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Good in game. Speaking of Paul, perfect timing. Good in gaming initiative. So a long piece I put out this week. It took a long time to put together around Gaming to Heal is what I called it. And it's all about community members and some of the research around using video games to deal with things like anxiety, depression, loss, mental health, things of that nature. It was a tough one at times to put together, but I'm really proud of what came out of that. And what that article kicked off is a new initiative for Season Gaming as a site called The Good in Gaming, where we're going to really work with other channels, content creators, outlets on things relating to the positivity of video games. So anything that really highlights the good in gaming. That's the whole point of it, right? So we've got a few articles up there now, including my new one. Ange, or Faz, who's in the chat, she wrote one a little while ago around addressing toxicity towards women in gaming. That's up there. Another article from me and an interview I did with someone who lost their son, who is the inspiration for our Extra Life team, because we all play for Extra Life, and we're currently the #1 team in the world right now, which is awesome. So it's going to be a very big thing for us. I wanted to shout it out. If you're listening to this later, please check it out. And also, I've already said my DMs are always open. You can also reach me at aboden@seasongaming.com. I've already heard from several other people who want to talk to me about things in the future. But if you'd like to reach out, you can remain anonymous. I don't have to publish your name. It'd be really great to work with you and get these stories shared. So, thank you. And thank you to Paul, who's in the chat. He's one of the people that is featured in the article that's up right now. So, Xbox headset comes out next week. I wanted to shout that out. The new official kind of headset. I'm going to be doing a video review of it, and then we're going to follow that up later with a comparison to some other Xbox headset models, which Dan is going to do because he's owned about 92 of them. So that's true. He has experience with all these headsets and can give you the breakdown as to what may be best for you and how it compares to the others. So it's going to be fun. Anyway, man, Darge, why don't you let people know where they can find you, man? You and your daughter. Come on. She can come in.
Yeah, come in.
Come on in.
You can find me. There's a YouTube channel somewhere which ain't been updated for ages. But you'll mainly find me on Twitter at Darge Knight. Try and not get too messy on there if I can. So thanks for having me on though. Especially Ains, I've been speaking to you for a while. You're one of what I'd call a good guy in the community. It's good to come on here. Just happy to be on here. Have a little talk about video games. It's boring, she said. We like it. But thanks again. Anyway, I appreciate it.
It's not Roblox, that's for sure.
Yeah, she likes Roblox.
Well, they're worth $45 billion, so I think a lot of people like Roblox, which is nuts.
I don't like paying for the Robux though, but she likes that. She likes it.
No worries. No, Darge, appreciate the comments, man. And obviously we'll continue to chat and interact, and it won't be the last time you be on for sure. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll do it again. Dan, Thanks. Mr. Monkey.
Yeah, man.
I'll see you on Division 2. Anything else you want to call out?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I never have much to say.
No, it's fine. I just want to. The 1 week where I just skip over you, you're going to be like, "Wait, I wanted to say something," so I just make sure to ask. Yeah,
I'll be on the division.
Definitely, guys. So just to close out, check out Gaming Beyond the Box and the Halo tournament. It takes a lot of work to put these things together. I talked with Fork this morning, him and I, for a little bit, and it's easy to sit back and say, "Oh, this tournament's this tournament's that." It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work coordinating with 16 different podcasts. to try and put a tournament together at different times and streaming and videos and highlights. And so please check it out. Our good friends over there. So with that, man, it's been a real fun show. So that was Bitcast 145. Thanks as always for checking us out, and we will see you next Saturday. Peace.
Yeah.